There's a device that I've been using called a Whoop.
Hello, and welcome to the 5th season of the International Game of Whoop. I'm Dan Sugano, aka Skittles, the creator and host of IGOW, and in this video we're going to be covering the first official challenge of the IGOW 5 regular season, and that is the EMAX International Orbits. I know a majority of the registered pilots have never participated in any IGOW before, so in this initial challenge video, I'm going to try to cover everything you need to know about how the game works, starting with the basic concept and format. IGOW is similar to a game of skate or horse, except modified so that pilots from around the world can compete together without having to all gather in one location. Each week on Thursday, I will release a challenge explanation video like the one you're watching right now. For a typical challenge, you would then have about 9 days to perform the requirements and create an up to 60-second video and submit it via the designated Google form on the website. However, this first challenge is not due until June 21st. That's 3 weeks from now and a week after the Multi-GP International Open ends. So that should give everyone plenty of time to complete their EMAX International Orbits. Then, on the Saturday long stream review, I personally watch all of the video submissions and mark them pass or fail. If you fail or miss a challenge, you then receive a letter. If you get 4 letters, IGOW, you spell IGOW and you are knocked out of the game. There's going to be 12 regular season challenges during which the player pool will be reduced from the thousands of pilots that started down to the top 32 pilots who will make the playoffs. Then those elite pilots will battle it out in a series of playoff challenges to ultimately determine the IGOW 5 champion. If you didn't already know, IGOW 5 has over $35,000 in cash and prizes that will be given out to pilots during the season. In IGOW, most of the prize winners are chosen by random giveaway, so everyone participating has an equal chance to win. There are also prizes based on performance, of course, and you can see every single prize available for each challenge and the entire season on the prizes spreadsheet. This first challenge has over $5,000 in giveaways. About half of that is available to anyone who participates, and the other $2,500 in prize giveaways can be accessed by joining the bonus tier of the IGOW Patreon. It's only $7.77 a month, and that basically doubles the amount of prizes that you could win. To be eligible for any of the prize giveaways, you must submit a real-life video of yourself attempting the challenge. You do not have to successfully complete the challenge to be entered in the prize giveaways, so even if you fail, you definitely still want to submit a video of your attempt to get entered into the giveaways. And just to reiterate that, you must submit real-life footage of you attempting the challenge to be entered into the giveaways. Simulator-only submissions or any submission without real-life challenge attempts are not eligible to win prizes. Okay, now I'm going to hand it over to IGOW Studios' Dan, who will break down the requirements for IGOW 5, challenge number 1, the EMAX International Orbits. Thanks, Dan. Okay, IGOWers, before we jump into the challenge requirements, let me first quickly define exactly what an orbit is. An orbit is simply flying around in a circular motion while keeping the eyes of the drone, your camera, pointing in towards the middle and keeping whatever you're circling, your point of interest, which is just anything you can see in your FPV view, keeping that subject in the center of your FPV view as you circle around. This is a very common motion in cinematic drone flight. It's programmed into DJI drones, and it was popularized by Mr. Steele about a decade ago in FPV freestyle. Okay, now that we've defined what an orbit is, let's go straight into the EMAX example submissions.
Here are the requirements for IGOW 5, challenge number 1, the EMAX International Orbits. So the first thing you need to do for this challenge is locate a point of interest. That's anything cool or interesting, unique that you can see in your FPV view. And I've chosen this statue of Chris Cornell here at the EMP as my first point of interest. You can have multiple or just one.
Requirement number 1 is that you must include your pilot name, your location, and a fun or interesting fact about yourself in your video submission.
Requirement number 2 is that you complete at least 2 orbits either direction around the point of interest without losing the point of interest from your FPV view. And requirement number 3 is to do 2 consecutive orbits in the opposite direction. So if you did clockwise first, you do anti-clockwise second time, or if you did counterclockwise first, then you do clockwise the second time. And they again have to be 2 consecutive orbits without losing the point of interest from your FPV view. And then you've completed the EMAX International Orbits.
All right, so as you can see from the example, this challenge is very straightforward and easy. Requirement number 1 is that you must show your pilot name, your location, and a fun fact about yourself in your video submission. Requirement number 2 is that you must complete at least 2 full consecutive orbits around a point of interest without losing the subject from your FPV view. Requirement number 3 is that you must complete at least 2 full consecutive orbits in the opposite direction to your first 2 orbits around a point of interest without losing the subject from your FPV view. Oh yeah, and I'm going to add one more requirement that was not covered in the example video, and that is requirement number 4. Do not, under any circumstance, use the song "You Spin Me Right Round Baby." This song always gets the live stream blocked, even though it may not block your individual video. I don't know why, YouTube stuff. And so using this song in your submission will result in an instant failure. It's not clever, don't use it. Now you can use the same point of interest or have 2 different ones, it doesn't matter, and these do not have to be in the same clip. You can have separate clips for each set of orbits. But each 2 orbits must be consecutive, that means back to back with nothing else in between, and you have to complete at least 2. So I would do at least 2.5 or so to make sure you complete 2, because if you come up short on your 2, that's going to be a fail. You can, of course, include more than the minimum 2 orbits in each direction in your video. You can have as many orbits as you like around as many things as you can fit into your 60-second time limit. Okay, so now let's go out to Field Reporter Dan and Stickcam Dan, who are out looking for some ideal point of interest to orbit for the tutorials. Thanks, Studio Dan. All right, IGOWers, if you remember from IGOW 4, I was also tasked with going out and finding a point of interest to orbit, and I kind of used a little bit of sarcasm and tried to make a joke by just orbiting this tree in the front yard rather than actually going out and finding something cool to orbit, and I don't think most of the participating pilots fully got the joke that I was trying to make, because a ton of people just orbited trees. And that's not what we're looking for in the EMAX International Orbits. When you go out and look for an ideal point of interest for your orbits, there are 3 main things that you're going to want to keep in mind to find the best point of interest. So the first is pretty obvious, and that is that whatever you choose to orbit, the point of interest itself is really cool looking, interesting, or unique in some way, because obviously you're going to be spinning around it and looking at it the whole time. So the cooler it is, the better it makes as a point of interest. Number 2 is similar, and that would be, rather than the point of interest itself that you're orbiting, that the area around the point of interest is also very interesting and cool to look at, because again, you're going to be spinning around, so you'll see everything around your point of interest, and the cooler the location, the better it makes for orbiting. And then finally, number 3 is kind of what we're going for here in the EMAX International Orbits Challenge, and that is to find something that kind of represents the area where you are. So if you can go out and find kind of a cool landmark or a statue or something that just represents your location, that's great for finding an ideal point of interest. All right, so now I'm going to head out and try to find one that's a lot better than just a tree in the front yard. All right, Field Reporter Dan here. I'm ready to go out and find an ideal point of interest for some orbits. Just waiting for Stickcam Dan, not sure where he's at. Let's go! Oh crap, Field Reporter Dan's ready to go. My bad. Oh, here he comes now, good. Come on, let's go. Got a little cut up, but I'm here, all right. Let's head out. Hop in. All right, you ready? You doing good? All right, let's head out. Cool. All right, I'm ready to roll. Let's hit it. All right, buckle up, we're heading out. Hello IGOWers, I'm here on location at a point of interest that is perfect for this challenge. It meets all 3 of the requirements. It's super cool to look at. It's in a cool location. And of course it represents Seattle because we're talking about the Space Needle. All right, I've never orbited it for an IGOW video before. Figured it was about time. Let's send it up there.
Okay, so here we are at a iconic Seattle landmark. That is the Space Needle. So obviously this marks a bunch of the things. It's cool to look at. It's got a cool surrounding area, and it obviously represents Seattle excellently. But the one problem I think we find with the Space Needle is that it's just too big. So we're up here, right? And we can orbit the Space Needle. We can get that done. Not going to be the best orbit because of the thing's so big, but remember, you have to do 2 counterclockwise and 2 clockwise orbits in your 60-second clip to complete the challenge. So it's going to be kind of hard to do something as big as the Space Needle here. And also, since it's so big, to actually get a decent speed you have to be really tilted. Just not ideal, but the Space Needle is obviously a super cool orbit. Now let's do some the other way. Maybe we could get in here close to the window so these people can actually see us. That'd be pretty cool. So this isn't exactly an orbit. I'm more like spinning around the outside, just kind of going around it, and it's so big so I can keep it in view. But we're gonna have to try to orbit something smaller to really do a tutorial. Though this is pretty cool now that I'm up here. Let's see if I can go in even closer to the people. Oh, I could have photobombed that one. This is pretty fun. Alright. Must be on the opposite side now. Yep, now I'm above me. Let's see if we can get in someone's picture or something. Alright, so for the orbit tutorial, we're going to be using a much smaller object because that's a lot easier to teach an orbit on. And I'm going to use this pole here of this kind of a light flower thing here in the Seattle Center. Hopefully it's kind of tucked behind this building in an area where there's not too much wind, because that'll definitely make our orbits easier. All right, so for an orbit, what you're going to want to start to do is basically just a coordinated turn, which we learned in preseason challenge number 0, right? So we're going to yaw and roll in the direction we want to go and spin around the object. So now we're basically just flying around the object in a circle, and the point of interest is off to the side of our screen, which is not ideal and not truly an orbit, though it would count. What you want to do for a true orbit is yaw in more, so the point of interest is in the center of your screen, and then spin around it, keeping it in the middle of your screen as your focus. So to do this, you're going to have to adjust a little, especially if there's wind or anything, as you spin around. And if you want to adjust like the speed of an orbit, you could increase your throttle, but then you also have to increase your pitch, so you're pitched more forward, so you don't gain altitude. Oh, and you have to roll in a little more so you don't gain distance from the object. So there's a pretty simple orbit there in clockwise or counterclockwise. Now let's go clockwise. Same thing, just to the right. So you approach it, start your coordinated turn. If you're just flying around in circles, then your object is going to be off on the side of your screen. So if that's happening to you, yaw more, and then you're going to find the point of interest in the center of your screen, and that's what you want. So we're going to spin around it a few times, trying to keep it as in the middle as possible. You can stay close, or you can start to do a little bit of a wider orbit. You're just going to have to play with the sticks to see how each thing adjusted. But the more throttle you have, the more pitch you're gonna need. All right, so let's do a few more orbits here so you can just kind of see the sticks for different speeds and types of orbits. So I'm gonna start with trying to get about as smooth of an orbit around this thing as I can. It is hard because I got to throttle up to get around the wind here, throttle down, throttle up, throttle down. So then let's see if I want to go faster. See, I got to pitch in more and I have to roll more to keep it, roll and yaw more to keep it more in the middle. Not bad. So if I want to go lower, I can lower the throttle and kind of level out the pitch to go around lower, right? And then let's switch directions again. I'll start down lower and then we'll raise up. So if I throttle up without changing pitch, right, we're gonna start going higher and higher. So that's not good. So we want to pitch down. So then we're looking at the obstacle. Okay, now I got to do opposite, let off the throttle, increase the throttle, let off the throttle, increase the throttle. And yeah, there's our basic orbit. Let's do a little bit of a smaller obstacle here. This head bust here. So we're gonna spin around that. See if we can get locked in. It's looking pretty good. Oh, it's starting to get a little elliptical. Oh, but that's not bad. All right, so now let's go the other direction. Pretty good. All right, so those are basic orbits. And yeah, the main point of interest, or the main focus for the requirements, is that you keep the point of interest in your field of view. So if you're orbiting, let's say I'm orbiting around this one and then, oh, I lose it. I come around, oh, I lose it from point of view. That would be a fail. You got to complete at least 2 consecutive orbits without losing the point of interest from fail. So if it goes out of your screen, you got to start back around again and redo your orbits.
Thanks guys, that was an excellent breakdown of the requirements and an explanation of how to perform the EMAX International Orbits Challenge. EMAX is the title sponsor of this challenge, of course, and the presenting sponsor of IGOW.info.
Welcome to EMAX, where innovation meets performance and precision is our passion. At EMAX, we don't just build components, we craft solutions that redefine industry standards. For 2 decades, EMAX has been at the forefront of technological advancements, pushing boundaries and delivering excellence to our customers worldwide. At EMAX, quality isn't just a goal, it's a standard we live by. Join the EMAX revolution today and experience the difference that precision engineering can make.
Meet the Tiny Hawk NanoScout, EMAX's latest FPV drone, returning to the roots of what makes drones great. With a robust frame made of high-quality plastics, this drone is engineered to withstand the rigors of intense flying sessions. With material memory, the NanoScout is able to return to its original shape no matter the damage. At the heart of the Tiny Hawk lies the powerful 08015 22,000 kV NanoScout motor. Unlike other motors in the competition, the NanoScout motor features a high-precision dual bearing system, ensuring maximum efficiency and power, allowing the motor to spin at higher RPMs than other motors with higher kV ratings. This combination delivers unparalleled speed and responsiveness. The Tiny Hawk NanoScout by EMAX is not just a drone, it's a testament to what modern engineering can achieve. Durable, efficient, and powerful, it promises an FPV experience like no other. Elevate your flight with the Tiny Hawk NanoScout, where every detail is a masterpiece, and every flight is an adventure.
Join the race with dreams take flight. Tiny Hawk NanoScout day and night.
I have personally been flying the EMAX NanoScout for about 2 or 3 months now, and I've used it to perform all of the example submissions during the preseason. I'm particularly impressed with the frame. It's incredibly durable while still being more rigid than most other 65mm frame options. It's a bit heavier than others, but I think it's perfect for an IGOW freestyle basher, and I plan to use it on more of my freestyle builds in the future. EMAX has also provided $1,500 of cash and prizes exclusively for pilots that attempt the challenges with an EMAX drone. So if you have one, make sure to put in an attempt with that so you can get entered into those giveaways. Huge thanks to EMAX for supporting IGOW at such an epic level. Okay, before I wrap up the video, there's one more quirk of IGOW that I want to explain. On each submission form, you will find a question asking how many pieces of Flair you would rate your video. If you haven't seen the 1999 film Office Space, this probably won't make much sense to you, but this skit should provide enough context for you to understand the concept. Boom, nailed it. I killed the orbits on this tree. Did you see that? Seriously, field reporter Dan, the tree in the front yard, that's the point of interest you found to orbit? What do you mean? That was absolutely a passing submission. Yes, I guess technically it is a passing submission. But let's go to Tchotchke's manager Stan to see how he feels about doing the bare minimum.
We need to talk about your Flair.
Really? I have 15 pieces on.
Well, okay, 15 is the minimum. Okay?
Okay.
Now, you know, it's up to you whether or not you want to just do the bare minimum or, well, like Brian, for example, has 37 pieces of Flair on today, okay? A terrific smile.
Okay, so you want me to wear more?
Look, we want you to express yourself, okay? Now, if you feel that the bare minimum is enough, then okay. But some people choose to wear more, and we encourage that, okay? You do want to express yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, great, great. That's all I ask.
Send it. Thanks, Stickcam Dan. That example submission would certainly have a much better chance of being selected as a top video for the week. Often adding little things to your edit, like little minor details, may not seem like a big deal, but will certainly make your video stand out among the hundreds of other videos that will have the same basic elements. Remember, each challenge is ultimately only a pass-fail grade, so while doing any of this extra flair for your submissions is certainly going to help you stand out and get recognized, and maybe even win some prizes.
Okay, that's what the Flair's about. It's about fun.
It will not particularly impact your likelihood of actually making the playoffs or winning the whole competition. So, it is not at all required. Okay, IGOWers, I hope this video covered most everything you need to know about IGOW 5. You can find more information on the website, and I highly recommend joining the IGOW Discord. That's the best place to get any additional questions you have answered by myself or the community. Good luck and happy whooping!